Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to go over the market real quick because I think the market is making a rather significant day. And then I want to get into some charts. I see some pretty decent trades setting up, and I want to share those with you. And of course, if you guys see any trades setting up, please share them with me. Leave them down there in the comment section. I read every single one of them, and I go over every one of those charts that you guys tell me to look at. And I appreciate you guys that take the time to let me know something significant you see in the market. But then at the end of it, I'm going to get into my trading activity for the day. So if you want to see if I made or lost any money today, make sure you stick around all the way to the end. But first, let's get into the QQQ, which of course is the NASDAQ ETF. And I talked about in my last video how I thought the market could get a decent bounce if it pulled all the way down here to this blue line, which is the 50-period simple moving average, because it also lined up with this support area right here. So I did end up taking an option trade, and I made a little bit of money on that, but I'll go over that in the end. The market is having a little bit of a tough time getting over the purple line, which is the 21-period exponential moving average. But if we get above that, I definitely think we're going to be running into the 8-period exponential moving average just above it. Now there is a resistance area here as well. It's not nearly as stiff as this one that we had back in late February, early March, but I definitely think the market could find some resistance. So if the NASDAQ or the QQQ gets all the way up there, I'm probably going to look to at least take a little bit of a short position, probably buy some either call options on the SQQQ or some put options on the QQQ. Because I want a little bit of a hedge in case we do get a rollover after that. Now, looking at today's trading activity, I should say market activity so far, I think there's a pretty good chance this could be a nice reversal. I would like to see some more volume come in, but there is still some time left in the trading day. So if we get a big move up into the close, that could be enough volume to get it over this average right here. And I think that would be a significant amount of volume that could eventually propel us past this pivot right here. But definitely looking good so far. Taking a look at the spider, which is the S&P 500. I was actually thinking the spider could come down to this area as well, but it did not make it because the Qs got down there first and we had a nice reversal. So that's actually a sign of strength that the S&P 500 turned around before it got to that 50-period simple moving average. And if we take a look at the diamonds, same thing. I was expecting it to actually get down to this support area. It did not happen because the Q bounced first and it kind of pulled everything else up. But the diamonds are actually getting close to that 8-period exponential moving average already, even though I don't think that's as significant on the Dow as I do on the QQQ. So let's take a look at the IWM. IWM is still acting like the weakest one out there. Can't get above that 50-period simple moving average, so it's finding a lot of resistance there. So I think the IWM could be the one leading us lower if the market does roll over again, once the QQQ makes it up to the 8-period exponential moving average, if it does. All right, so let's get into some trades that I see potentially setting up. But before I get into that, please remember, I am not a financial advisor. All of this is just my opinion. Please make all of your own buying and selling decisions. I'm just trying to show you some of the best looking trades that I see setting up in the market. But I do want to point out that I do have a Patreon group. It's only $9.99 a month. So if you'd like to join our little trading group, the link is down there in the description. I'm in the Discord every single day, and I try to put out a pre-market watch list video on the Patreon page before every single trading day, just showing you all the trades that I see setting up and if there's any else significant setting up in the market. But the first one I want to get into is Lowe's, ticker symbol LOW. You can see Lowe's has been getting crushed like a bunch of stocks in the housing sector, but it looks like the downtrend is starting to slow down a little bit. We had a little bit of a false breakdown, and we're getting a nice big green candle today. Now, optimally, I would like to see it kind of move sideways right around that 8-period exponential moving average and then have a break above it. And if that does happen, I think we're probably going to get some follow through, and it could easily end up making it here to the purple line on the chart, which is the 21 period exponential moving average, up to about $214. That's what I'm looking for on lows. You can see Home Depot is kind of in the same boat. It had a nice little false breakdown. After this big move down here, you can see it is really starting to run out of steam to the downside. So if Home Depot can kind of do the same thing, I would expect a similar bounce in Home Depot. I do think a lot of these housing stocks and stocks that are associated with the housing sector, like Home Depot, are certainly oversold and due for a decent bounce. Another one that I like here is NLOK, Norton LifeLock. This one has had some wild swings over the last couple of months. Found a bottom at that 200 period simple moving average, kind of gyrated around just under that 8 period exponential moving average, and now we're printing a nice big green candle. It should be closing just above that unless it sells off into the close. We still have, I don't know, right around an hour or so left in the trading day. I'm strongly considering buying some call options on this one because I do think once it gets a break above these moving averages, it could have some nice follow through to the upside. So Norton LifeLock is looking pretty good. Now, more of a speculative stock right here is XCUR. This one is making a very nice rounded bottom. You got a lot of big green volume bars coming in. Had a sharp move down, had a false breakdown yesterday. Now it's moved right back into that moving average cluster. If we can get above this cluster, I think this thing could easily end up shooting up here to the old resistance area right around 30 cents. And that's about a 40% move or so from here, and definitely you can see more buying coming in right here. Not as much as before, but I think they're trying to be, you know, a little incognito here, just try to mask their buying activity, because this one certainly looks like it is ready to rock and roll. You can see these lows are getting higher, and it's really starting to round up with some nice volume coming in. I normally don't buy stocks this cheap, but this pattern is looking really good. And you know, if I bought in right here, I would put my stop loss probably right under probably 16 cents or 15 cents. I wouldn't risk a ton on it, but you know, there's a lot of upside here for a not too much downside risk. So XCUR is looking pretty good. And last but not least is HL. This one is in the gold sector. This is Hecla Mining Company. I guess that's how you say it, but either way, had a little bit of a cup and a handle formation. Gold stocks had a nice run about a month or so ago, but they've been kind of consolidating, and it's only probably a matter of time before these things resume their uptrend. So now we got a nice little trend line we can draw on HL, plus we got a nice bottom forming. You can see we've had these reversal candles, and now we've had another one right up into that 8-period exponential moving average. I think the next move above this trend line should easily take out this pivot that we had about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that should be the next move up for HL. All right, so let's get into my trading activity for the day. The first one I want to talk about is Momentous, ticker symbol MNTS. I believe this thing was a SPAC. Yes, it was. And just like all the other SPACs, had a nice run up, and they are just fading into the abyss, but they must come out with some good news today because they're having a nice big gap up. This is part of my gap and go strategy. I like to look for stocks that are typically under $10, and if they gap up and pull back, I try to buy that first pullback when they start to round up and try to grab, you know, between 5 and, I don't know, 8% or so. And that's what I got with Momentous, ticker symbol MNTS. But let's go intraday. I'll show you how this one shaped up. Let me bring the chart back so we can see it a little bit better. But Momentous had this nice gap up, pulled back, and it was actually kind of just going sideways. So I didn't really think it was going to do anything, but I put an order to buy on the breakout anyway. I got executed at $3.91, and I ended up taking profit at $4.19. So right about here. You can see that was a halfway decent move up, but there was certainly more to be had if I would have stayed into it. And it seemed like that was the theme for today. But either way, you know, I made right around 5% or so, and that's what I typically like to get. But some of these things have been kind of fizzling out lately, so I took my profit a little bit sooner, and usually these things end up fading down anyway. But if we go to the current price, I guess it's just about right where I sold it. So kind of just going flat. But let's go to the daily chart, And I'm going to get rid of this crap. Let's go to the next trade. That was the option trade that I did when I was watching the QQQ. So I was anticipating that we were going to get a bounce off of that 50-period simple moving average and this support area on the QQQ. So what I did was I bought some call options on the TQQQ, which is the triple levered QQQ ETF, or at least I think it's triple levered. I believe it is. Anyway, I bought the $52 call at $1.01, and it was actually right near the low. I believe the low was like 99 cents on that one, but I ended up selling a third of the position at $1.45, another third at $1.78, and the final third at $2.34. So it was a decent trade, but last I checked, the contract was over $3. So if I would have held on to the entire position, I would have made a heck of a lot more money on it. But I just thought that this bounce was going to be kind of short-lived in the QQQ, but it just seems like it's kind of picking up momentum as the day is going. So we'll have to see how it ends, how the trading day ends for the QQQ. But another one that I was actually looking at that I'm kicking myself for was Target. I was talking about this one in my pre-market video that I put on the Patreon page. I thought that we were probably going to get a nice little bounce in Target, and it was a really, really nice bounce. I was actually going to buy the $225 call option that expires tomorrow at 40 cents. I wanted it to pull back a little bit more. That's why I didn't execute that order. So I removed that order from the market. I was hoping it was going to pull back a little bit more. But last I checked, that contract is over $5. So if I would have got those contracts at 40 cents, I could have been up a buttload in those as well. But that was my trading activity for the day. Like I said before, if you guys see any decent trades setting up, make sure you let me know in the comment section. I appreciate all you guys that do that. I'm going to end the video right there. Thank you so much for watching it all the way to the end. And until next time, take care, everybody.